Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
The dawn over Port Charles was unusually still, like the calm before a storm that the city could sense long before the thunder actually struck. The air around the pier tasted like secrets, sharp, metallic, heavy. Jason Morgan stood alone at the water's edge, staring into the faint reflection of city lights trembling over the dark waves. He looked like a man in the middle of a baptism not of his choosing, a baptism of truth, a baptism of guilt, a baptism of moral conflict so heavy it could drown even the strongest man. For days, rumors had rippled through the city like whispers of a coming revival. People sensed something was wrong, something big, something twisted, something dangerous, and Jason, as always, was standing silently at the center of it. He had learned Ronnie's true identity, a truth so explosive that if spoken aloud it could flip Port Charles upside down in a single night. A truth that could save lives, or destroy them. But Jason wasn't speaking. Not yet. And his silence was starting to shake the city awake. This was where the baptism began. Not with holy water. But with truth buried under so many layers of deception that peeling them back felt like ripping skin from bone. Jason had uncovered Ronnie's real identity by accident, or perhaps, fate. He found documents hidden in a safe house, pieced together coded conversations, and finally confronted the man himself, cornering him like a wolf forcing truth out of a trembling deer. Ronnie had been living under a false persona for years. A deep-cover identity no one was supposed to discover. He wasn't who Port Charles thought he was. Not even close. Ronnie wasn't simply a cop gone bad. He wasn't a federal contact undercover. He wasn't a pawn. He was something far darker, something tied to the past, to a secret organization whose name Jason couldn't even speak yet. Something connected to events long buried in Port Charles history. Something violent. Something that whispered danger into every corner of Jason's life. Jason knew the truth. And he could destroy Ronnie with a single sentence. But he didn't. Not because he was weak. Not because he was protecting a criminal. But because the truth was so complicated, so tangled, so drenched in past sins and hidden agendas, that unleashing it prematurely could start a war Port Charles wasn't ready to fight. So he held the truth inside him like fire trapped in a closed fist, burning slowly through flesh, discipline, and sanity. That was the baptism, truth testing the strength of the soul. At the safe house, Carly stormed in first, her heels clicking like anger made physical. "Jason," she snapped. "You know something. I can feel it. You're hiding something from me, from all of us." Jason didn't answer. He didn't even look up. He just cleaned his gun slowly, deliberately, like a man trying to keep his hands busy while his mind burned. "Jason," Carly repeated, her voice breaking into something less angry and more frightened. "Why won't you talk to me? Did Ronnie do something? Did you find out who he really is?" Jason finally lifted his eyes, and for the first time in years, Carly actually stepped back. His expression wasn't cold. It wasn't angry. It wasn't blank. It was burdened. Haunted. Heavy with a truth so dark he couldn't share it yet. "Carly," he said quietly. "Not now." "Not now," she repeated, incredulous. "You're doing that thing again, shutting me out, locking up, acting like you can carry the entire world alone. You know how dangerous that is." Jason looked down at the gun in his hand. "This isn't about danger," he said. "It's about timing." Carly frowned. "Timing? Jason, what are you talking about?" Before he could answer, Sonny entered, slower, more cautious. Unlike Carly, he didn't rush at Jason with demands. He approached like a preacher walking into a church where the congregation had suddenly gone silent. "Jason," Sonny said softly. "Talk to me." Jason exhaled, jaw tightening. Sonny's voice remained low, warm, encouraging, the kind of voice meant to guide a man back from the edge. "You don't have to tell me everything," Sonny said. "Just tell me if we're safe." Jason didn't respond. And that silence was enough. We're not, Sonny whispered. No encouraging word could soften that blow. Meanwhile, in the depths of the city, Ronnie felt the pressure mounting. He could feel Jason closing in on him. He could feel secrets trembling behind every shadow. He could feel judgment approaching, fast. He moved with jittery desperation, trying to hide loose ends, destroy files, silence witnesses. Because Ronnie knew something else. If Jason spoke, if Jason revealed the truth, Ronnie's entire existence would go up in flames. So Ronnie's fear turned into threats, angry, sharp, reckless threats he whispered to anyone who crossed his path. Stay out of this, Ronnie growled to a terrified informant. If Jason Morgan opens his mouth, we're all dead. Every last one of us. So if you know what's good for you, you'll stay quiet. His threats spread like a sickness, poisoning the streets. People suddenly avoided eye contact. People whispered in dark corners. People prayed the truth wouldn't come out, because even those who didn't know what the truth was could feel its weight looming over the city like a storm cloud ready to burst open. Back at the safe house, Jason met with Spinelli. Spinelli spoke nervously, like a choirboy trying to confess something he barely understood. Stone cold, the files you asked me to decrypt? They contain things. Very disturbing things. Connections that don't make sense unless. Spinelli swallowed hard. Unless Ronnie isn't who we think he is. Jason nodded. You know the truth then, Spinelli whispered. Some of it, Jason replied. Spinelli leaned in. Then we must reveal it, immediately. Stone cold, this could protect the city. This could expose corruption. This could. No, Jason said sharply. Spinelli froze. And no? Jason shook his head. Not yet. Spinelli's eyebrows shot up, confusion clouding his face. But you always insist on protecting the innocent. If Ronnie is dangerous. He is, Jason interrupted. Spinelli gasped. Then why, he demanded. Why won't you tell anyone? Jason stood up and walked toward the boarded window, staring out at the night as if it held the answers he couldn't speak aloud. Spinelli followed him anxiously. Stone cold, withholding information could put lives at risk. It could also save lives, Jason countered. Spinelli blinked rapidly, overwhelmed. Jason's voice deepened, cracking under the weight of the truth. This isn't just about Ronnie. It's about who's behind him. And they're bigger, and far more dangerous, than anyone realizes. Spinelli stepped back. Bigger than the FBI? Bigger than the WSB? Jason didn't respond. Spinelli turned pale. Oh no. Jason nodded slowly. He was baptized in truth. Spinelli was drowning in it. Later that night, Ronnie confronted Jason near the pier. Rain fell in slow, heavy drops, each one like a drumbeat marking time before war erupted. The pier lights flickered. Fog swallowed the ground. Everything felt cinematic, too dramatic for real life, but this was Port Charles. Reality here always felt like a prophecy waiting to unfold. Ronnie approached with a smirk, but his eyes were wild. You know, Ronnie said, voice tight, but you're not talking. Why? Jason didn't answer, his expression carved from stone. Ronnie laughed nervously. You think you can handle this? You think you can keep this contained? You don't know what you're dealing with. Jason finally spoke, slow, steady, deadly calm. I know exactly what I'm dealing with. Ronnie swallowed. Jason stepped closer. You're not the only one with secrets. Ronnie flinched. And you're not the only one who knows how deep this goes, Jason continued. But here's the difference, I don't panic. I don't run. And I don't talk until the time is right. Ronnie tried to sound confident. You think you can protect them? You think you can control this? Jason stared at him with cold, blue, unmoving eyes. No. I know I can. Ronnie's facade cracked. If you expose me, you'll expose them. And then you'll have a city full of dead bodies, starting with the people you love most. Jason's jaw tightened. Ronnie smirked. Ah. So that's why you're quiet. Jason didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't give Ronnie the satisfaction of fear. Ronnie leaned in. You're protecting them. Your silence is the only thing keeping them alive. Jason's eyes darkened like a storm warning. Don't mistake my silence for weakness, Jason said. Ronnie's smirk faltered. If you threaten anyone I care about, Jason continued, I won't expose your identity. Ronnie exhaled in relief. Jason took another step forward, teeth clenched. I'll end you. Ronnie froze. That was the angry threat, calm, quiet, powerful enough to chill the blood of even the most hardened man. Ronnie stumbled back. Jason stepped closer still, like a lion reclaiming territory. You think you're safe because I'm not talking? Jason said. You're wrong. I'm not talking because I'm watching. Because I'm waiting. Because one wrong move from you, and I won't hesitate. Ronnie swallowed hard, fear replacing arrogance. Jason finished the sermon with a voice so cold it could freeze water. The only reason you're still breathing is because your truth could hurt people who don't deserve it. But don't push me. Don't test me. And don't think for a second that I won't do what needs to be done. Ronnie stepped back into the shadows, shaken, small, exposed. Jason remained still, steady, unbroken. This was the final stage of the baptism, the acceptance of truth, the burden of silence, the weight of responsibility. Encouraging words tried to lift him earlier. Angry threats tried to break him. But Jason stood firm, washed clean in purpose, burning with the responsibility of keeping the city alive while carrying secrets that could scorch it to the ground. And as he turned away from the pier, rain soaking into his jacket, one thing was clear. Jason Morgan wasn't protecting Ronnie. He was protecting Port Charles. And when the time came, when Judgment Day arrived, when the truth could no longer be contained, Jason would speak. And hell itself would follow. Willow Tate went through with her marriage, while Laura Collins confessed to Kevin Collins. Plus, a shocking secret was revealed in Curtis Ashford's flashback, revealing he paid Selena Wu $1 million for a mega hit on Drew Kane. Michael lurked outside as Willow married Drew as Michael Corinthos lurked outdoors. The marriage form of Drew and Willow started, with Martin Gray officiating. Guests included Alexis Davis, Scout Quartermain, Elizabeth Baldwin, and Nina Reeves. When Martin suggested skipping to the promises, Drew claimed that nothing would help him from marrying Willow. Michael stepped down before Drew could say his promises. Also, when it was Willow's turn, she flashed back her earlier talk with Nina, where her mama questioned if she truly wanted to do with the marriage. Willow went through with her marriage as the guests watched nervously. Willow dithered before eventually saying, I do. After Drew and Willow changed rings, Martin declared them hubby and woman. While Nina and Alexis looked down in nausea as the couple kissed. After felicitating her father, Scout took Drew into another room to partake a surprise she had for him. Meanwhile, Willow informed Nina that she had fulfilled her thing by going through with the form. Nina pledged her full support in helping to get Wiley and Amelia Corinthos back. Willow thanked Elizabeth and Alexis explained to Martin the bridegroom expressed her gratefulness to Elizabeth for being by her side. Liz reflected that she wished for Willow to admit everything she asked from the marriage, to which Willow confidently replied that she was certain it would be. Martin conceded Alexis's presence, saying it was kind of her to come, and she explained that her attendance was solely to support Scout. She raised her frustrations about how the marriage and Willow's choices were complicating her job, emphasizing the need to win the case, else, Drew would help her from seeing her granddaughter again. Scout caught the bouquet and drew a picture. Alexis explained her strategy was to convert the jury that someone differently had a lesser motive to shoot Drew than Willow did. After Scout caught the bouquet that Willow had thrown, Alexis took the girl back to the Davis Hearthstone for a sleepover. Formerly all the guests had departed, Willow inquired about Scout's surprise, and Drew revealed a delineation of the three of them. He assured her that the picture would soon include 5 people once they brought Wiley and Amelia home, and also he kissed his bridegroom. Willow loved the delineation from her new stepdaughter. Gio bonded farther with Brooklyn. Gio Palmieri stayed to help Brooklyn Quartermain with the remittal after the QS enjoyed their Thanksgiving pizza. Brooklyn felt touched when her son participated that he hoped to admit an assignation for coming time because he'd a great time celebrating the vacation with her. As she plotted to make small talk, Brooklyn revealed her anxiety about intruding effects up with him, especially since their discussion at the sanitarium had been veritably meaningful to her. Gio assured her that indeed if effects came complicated between them, they were family, and everything would be fine since he was finished pushing her down. Also, Brooklyn inquired about the break heft at the lab when he suffed and suggested she talk to Dante Falconeri. She claimed on hearing his perspective on the matter. Gio explained he and Emma had forgotten while aiding Ned. Gio participated how he and Emma Scorpio Drake forgot their lab break heft plan after Ned Quartermain had his heart attack. He rued involving the other kiddies in stealing the crucial fob since they were minors and he asked them to do commodity illegal. Brooklyn praised her son for retaining up to it, noting Dante shows Fira's wrathfulness. Gio agreed he understood Dante's wrathfulness but didn't have to accept it. Brooklyn stated Dante wanted a relationship with his son, but Gio was doubtful. Their discussion was cut off when Emma rushed in searching for Gio. After Brooklyn left, Emma showed Gio a note she set up under her door that had an address just 3 blocks from the Brown Dog Bar, which was Dalton's off-lot lab. Curtis was taken in for questioning. Curtis was surprised when Nathan Reeves showed up at his house on Thanksgiving to question him about Drew's firing. Jordan Ashford and Trina Robinson watched as Curtis asked if he was under arrest. Nathan said he wasn't there to arrest him, so Curtis refused to go, not wanting to leave his family on the vacation. Trina brazened Nathan, saying the police had no right to take her father, and Curtis told Trina to go outside and keep Aunt Stella Henry from coming out. Jordan questioned why Curtis was being questioned when Willow was the main suspect, and Nathan said new substantiation had surfaced. Curtis reluctantly agreed to go to the station after informing his family. Kai calmed Trina, who blasted off at Stella for keeping secrets inside. Kai Taylor calmed Trina, and she scarfed at Stella's comment about Jordan going with Curtis, allowing Jordan would try to get close to him. Stella was shocked when Trina and Marshall Ashford revealed Jordan was incompletely responsible for Curtis and Portia's bifurcation. When Stella asked if Curtis and Jordan were having an affair, Trina claimed her pater wouldn't cheat, but Jordan was there when trouble started. Stella was worried that Marshall knew and didn't tell her, suggesting she wouldn't have invited Jordan for Thanksgiving. Trina also refocused out how disappointing it was to learn her family was keeping secrets, like everyone knowing about her mama's gestation except her. Kai and Trina discussed the situation as Marshall and Stella argued. Kai walked alongside Trina as she stepped outdoors to breathe in some fresh air. Stella and Marshall set up themselves in a heated debate about whether they should step by and intrude in Curtis's affairs. Stella was induced that her family would feel let down by Curtis for abandoning his child, whereas Marshall believed that Irene Ashford would have advised her to just let it be. Meanwhile, outdoors, Trina opened up to Kai, expressing her deep fear that her mama could have been the one responsible for shooting Drew. But now her enterprises had shifted to the possibility that her father might actually be shamefaced. Laura got a happy surprise. Laura was talking on the phone with Lucky Spencer when someone knocked at her door as her great-grandson played on the bottom. It was Kevin, back from Ireland a week beforehand with a huge bouquet. Seeing his woman's anxious vibe, Kevin originally allowed. She was just worn out from a tough re-election crusade. When he encouraged her to tell him what was wrong, Laura flashed back discovering Henry Dalton dead in her autos box. But before she could reveal this to her hubby, Lulu Spencer knocked on the door. She got up to let Lulu in. Laura confessed to Kevin. Kevin asked Lulu how Rocco Falconeri was doing, and Laura felt uneasy when he questioned if they knew where Dalton was. She mentioned it was once Ace Cassidy's bedtime. While Lulu took her whoreson upstairs to bed, Kevin remarked to Laura that it was strange the professor had dissolved and suspected if he was gone for good. After Lulu returned downward from putting Ace to bed, she said farewell to her mama and stepfather. Once they were alone again, Laura admitted to Kevin that she had set up Dalton's dead body in her autos box. Michael encountered Jacinda at the Brown Dog Bar after leaving Drew's house. Michael went to the Brown Dog, where he banged into Jacinda Bracken at the bar. She asked why he was with his family on Thanksgiving night, and Michael explained that he'd been with them before. But also he'd gone to check if Willow was really going to marry Drew. They moved to a table, and Michael confessed that he demanded to see Willow marry Drew to believe it. He still couldn't believe how his partner had constantly chosen Drew over him. Despite his manipulations and lies, Michael and Jacinda consummated their relationship, feeling further certain than ever that he was making the right opinions for the kiddies. Michael confessed he didn't want to go home and tell Wiley and Amelia that Willow had gotten wedded. Jacinda, calling Drew a hateful and vengeful bully who reminded her of a stepfather who no way prioritized her, comforted Michael that he was doing the stylish for his children. Also, Michael admitted that he wished they had met in different circumstances so Jacinda would know he wanted to be with her for who she is, not just as his justification. Leaning in to kiss Michael, Jacinda said she believed him. She also invited him back to her apartment, where they perfected their relationship. Curtis and Jordan went to the PCPD with Nathan at the station. Curtis plotted to communicate another counsel since Alexis was formerly representing Willow. Jordan questioned if Curtis knew what substantiation the PCPD had, but Curtis just wanted to answer questions and go home. He claimed Jordan be a substantiation during his questioning and told Nathan to relate to his earlier statement about Drew's firing. Rather, Nathan wanted to hear directly from Curtis about his whereabouts. After Curtis explained his conduct that night and said he didn't need a justification for being alone doing paperwork at the Savoy, he asked about the PCPD's new substantiation. Read THIS General Hospital spoilers. Michael crashes form to demand Lila's ring back, shocks Drew and Willow? The questioning continued. Nathan revealed they penetrated Red Shell Securities records, which manage the club's admonitions, showing a 1-hour gap between when Curtis reactivated the alarm after leaving and when he apparently met Jordan. Curtis said he got to the brown dog before Jordan. Jordan asked if the PCPD had proof Curtis was the shooter. Nathan said they didn't. He explained that Curtis, a former Bobby, knew how to cover his tracks, and his earlier statement didn't say he arrived first. Curtis allowed. It didn't matter. Nathan gave him a chance to change his statement, asking if he left anything out. Curtis' Selena's secret revealed. Curtis flashed back to meeting with Selena Wu but told Nathan he stood by his statement, since that took place during that 1-hour gap in the security footage. When Jordan said the PCPD was hopeless, Nathan refocused out that the lack of substantiation suggested Drew's firing was done by a pro. Curtis also recalled his talk with Selena, flashing back he'd offered her $1 million to kill Drew Kane that night. Curtis now faces a big problem, since he can't hardly communicate Selena to corroborate he paid her to put out a hit on Drew. Still, there's still the riddle to break of how the shooter got Edward Quartermain's gun if there indeed was a hitman or hitwoman.